have an unfortunate quirk that I am not proud of, and it's that I pass out if I'm talking to crazy people. And I think it's because I'm Southern, and I don't think that's too different from being Midwestern, where you just want to avoid conflict. And so these people, they seem to have a sense for that, and they're drawn to me. And so the first time this ever happened, someone told me that they had single-handedly ended a drought in West Virginia by doing a rain dance. And I remember trying to take that in. I think it's just that my body is not going to leave the situation. I'm just going to hang in there and smile and try and understand. And my brain is like, too much, peace, I'm out. So I woke up like in the lap of this person, which is the worst thing. Like if I would have just stayed conscious long enough to just nod, then I didn't have to be in their lap after. And then, like later, I didn't realize this was going to be an ongoing trend of mine, but a friend of mine, I had asked like a careless question about poop, and she then later brought in a manual that was like 3 inches thick that had pictures and outlined everything about it. And I feel like my hearing goes, and I just see her mouth moving and more pictures of poop. And then next thing, my tunnel vision happens, and I'm just out. And So naturally, I moved to New York, where it's just chock full of, I thought it was kind of like an allergy shot in a way. Like I could just get like a little dose of crazy here, stronger, little dose of crazy here, stronger. But then I thought, that's not enough. Let me go to the Lower East Side. And if you don't know, that is really like the epicenter of the eccentrics. And let me just say, I don't feel that I'm a closed-minded person. I think I'm fairly open. But then I was working in this restaurant, and it's one of those situations where there's only one front of house person. If you don't know, you're serving, you're answering the phone, you're doing everything. And so I was alone, and there were a lot of sharp, jagged edges in this restaurant. I should point that out. And so far, I had really kind of come around, and I was doing well, and I was interacting with all different kinds of people and staying conscious. And then this fella, Axel, walks in. I found out because he later told me, but he's ashen. His face and his hair are both cement gray, and he has a rope that's holding up his jeans. He weighs like 75 pounds. He's wearing a women's windbreaker. And then I zoom in on the fact that he's wearing talons, metal talons, which he has crafted. He's a jeweler, it turns out. And he asked me just something harmless, can I drink the rest of that beer that's sitting on the counter? Which, by the way, like, who drinks another person's beer? But he explained he had liver issues, and I was like, fine. I feel everything narrowing. I can't quite hear him. He doesn't have any teeth in the front of his face. So there's no, like, understanding what his mouth is saying. I grab onto the cement countertop behind me, and I'm bending my knees and thinking, just breathe through it. It's okay. Stay in there. The phone, of course, starts ringing. Other things are happening. And Axel feels the need to unburden himself about, his life and what he does. And he gives me his postcard, and he's got this painting on it. By the way, like, who gives postcards as their thing? Like, his phone number had been retroactively written on it, so he must have had these postcards printed out before he had a phone or something. But there's this beautiful painting, and it is all kind of like sepia, like shades of red and brown. And I was like, whoa, it's really good, actually. Look at me, I'm hanging in there and learning about someone. And then he says, it is great, I painted it with my own blood. He's a blood painter. And he was hunting for Lady Gaga so that he could craft talons for her because she had saved his life. So there were so many things there that really could have knocked me out, and I somehow managed to hang in. And I guess it was just I never knew what was the next thing that he was going to say, or just the fact that there were so many sharp surfaces, and my option was that I would wake up in his lap, which I really didn't want. So I held on, I hung in there, and I made it through that experience. And another day I saw him on the side of the street, and he had blood all over his face, and I said, "You've been painting, Axel." And so I really thought that I'd come through this thing. I really thought, look at you, growth. And but then my parents, who have all my life been my favorite people, they are not always the most sane, but they have always been my touchstones for what is right and what is good and what is true. And then they embarked on this spiritual journey. And along that way, they started experimenting with what happens to, why are crop circles formed? And maybe, here, take all these rocks, they'll heal you. And we have some ideas about who's reincarnating into your baby. But I love them so much, and they are giving me so much crazy. But I think what they're just doing is telling me their truth, and I think it comes from a place of love, and I think what they're looking to do is to connect. And I think, isn't that what we're all here trying to do? So the least I could do was stay conscious and be there and be present for them.
Let's hear it again for HannahSobol. Good job, Hannah. For some reason, the line that jumped out at me was, I asked a careless question about poop. I'm trying to imagine a careful question about poop. I'd like to talk about this, but please don't show me pictures. Tell us about a time you made an unexpected connection. This evening, I saw my son's Spanish teacher from grade school. My son is now 33 years old and is now a grade school teacher himself. Aw, that's sweet. This one was a little literal when I damn near electrocuted myself. It's a connection. Here's another one. When I was a kid, I was attending a wedding at a farm, trying to be cool and hang out with other kids by a pasture. I walked over and leaned against the fence with my soda in hand. The fence turned out to be electric. The theme here. And the soda can was an excellent conductor. Needless to say, that was not the connection I was looking for. But you're here to tell the tale, and I'm sure you looked really cool to all those friends. Judges, do we have scores? Right? You're still going? You're ready. All right. Our first judging team, New Ninth Planet, it's a 9.1. Armageddon, what do you got at 8.6? And Alpaca Lips a 9.2. Good job, HannahSobol. So this will be our last storyteller before an intermission. Now, when you go to intermission, be sure to tip your servers. I'm a union president. I get really pissed. And I will ask them. Let's fill this room with love for our fifth storyteller, Ben Bauer. Ben, come on up.
The only thing I knew about Tulsa, Oklahoma was that it was the place that Chandler accidentally agreed to move to when he fell asleep in a meeting on Friends. But that didn't stop me from moving to the Paris of Oklahoma.